Okay, you're on.
You're all set?
Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the Board of Selectmen's meeting for the town of Tufton Borough. Today is Monday, September 25th. Can we please stand in honor of America with the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first order of business is the opening of the police cruiser bids. Just let me read into the record. This was the ad, invitation to bid. The town of Tufton Borough is accepting sealed bids for the sale of the 2009 Ford Expedition. It has 91,511 miles. The vehicle will be sold as is. The vehicle is a former police cruiser and can be seen here at the town office. Sealed bids needed to be submitted to this office by 4:00 p.m. on Friday, September 22nd, 2017. And bids will be open now at the Selectmen's office Monday, September 25th at 4 p.m. 3 were received.
Not gonna guess.
Kayak, number 1. Natasha Moody submits a bid of $5,189.58. Number 2, Karen Cook. I would like to put a bid in for $1,001.
Price is right. Worth a shot.
Nice try. You get to run around with this.
Yeah, we're building an ice racer, is that what you're doing?
Number 3, Andrew Shagoury. My bid for the Ford Expedition is $5,000. Is there a motion?
What's the first one again?
$5,189.58.
Oddly specific.
Oddly.
That's it.
I'll make a motion, we sell the Ford Expedition to Natasha Moody for $5,189.58.
Okay.
Second?
Any further
Plus
discussion?
tax and title.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Can you pass all that down to Karen?
Yep.
The loser.
There
you go.
We're right on schedule, and we'll begin with public input.
I'd like
Yours,
to give a shout out to Tufton Borough PD, especially Sergent Hathchcok. Sergeant Hathchcok and his radar aided me a few weeks ago in the calibration of a speedometer that I have on a motorcycle, and we also had a wonderful talk afterwards about motorcycles in general. I would comment that public relations really hinges on the public. I think most of the time the public doesn't make any effort to relate to our police department. Whereas if they did, they would find out that any of our guys are really easy to approach and talk to, and I've always had good experience with them. I'd just like to say thanks again to Sergeant Hathchcok for his help.
Anyone else? Your hand.
I've also had good experience with both with Jamie and with Andy. Very approachable, easy to talk to. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Karen's husband, but I'm sure that he must be wonderful if she puts up with him. So, that's it.
Okay, we'll move right along. The fire chief can't be here. He has another place to be. and let us know in advance. Andy will be here shortly. Let's review the approval of minutes. Let's deal with September 8th. What is your
September 8th?
September 8th, Friday, September 8th. I didn't see anything, but
I didn't either.
I guess I didn't see anything. No, it's too late for that.
you want to take a moment, or you all set?
No, I'm good.
Is there a
Should I
motion?
take a knee?
Move approval as presented.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Next will be Monday, September 11th.
That's what I said. Oh,
Yeah, I have one correction.
Go ahead, sir.
In the second paragraph on the first page, we're talking about the pumping the septic tank at the library, and the minutes read JB and Son, and it's actually DJ's Septic Pumping Services that is doing the ongoing pumping of that tank.
Was J and B Son said, or is it D and J as a correction, or a little bit of both?
I believe it was my error.
What?
It was my error.
So,
So
okay,
DJ was discussed
yes.
in the meeting.
Yep.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we accept them as corrected.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Why don't we... There are the normal things in the blue folder for review
Yep.
from our building inspector. And we're off to signature file. This is a letter going out to Katie Slonaker, S-L-O-N-A-K-E-R, Emergency Management Specialist. And she wanted to know if we have a written policy for the procurement of contractors. The letter that is being sent to her says, the town of Tuftonboro does not have a written policy for the procurement of contractors. When a project is of great expense, the town tends to put the project out to bid. The award of a bid is based on the lowest responsible bidder when has fully complied with the details of the RFP. If timing is of the essence, when an individual is particularly familiar with the project, there are times where a project would not be put out to bid. The project manager would use their good judgment for situations such as these. If you have any questions or would like to discuss this matter further, please don't hesitate to contact Administrative Secretary Karen Cook. I asked her to please attach something we go by, and that's Contracting 101 that came out of the town and city. And in the 5 years I've been here, this is what we used. For example, one of the bids at Lang Pond Road was over $35,000, but there was no surety or bond put. And that was one of the things that were required by law. So we follow the guidelines of the RSAs, even though they're not written into our policy manual. Is it okay, gentlemen, you want to sign this letter? And do we need a motion?
I'll move approval.
Is there a second? I'll second it.
Okay.
You want to, have you read the letter?
I don't think I have. No.
Okay.
And who is this Katie Slonaker? Is that just female?
She's the individual that was looking for, that asked the question with respect to the
Right.
Uh,
How we award things.
FEMA submission for the winter storm. So, and the short answer is we do it in accordance with the state
Okay.
RSA.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Go ahead, sign it, gentlemen. Next is to a Mrs. Beveridge at Beveridge Craft and Beer Soap Company. Has the permission of the town to use 19 Mile Bay Beach area for a beer fest on January 22nd, 2018 from 12 until 3:30 p.m. Per your discussion with Chief Thompson, this approval is contingent on there being an additional porta potty, no disposal of ashes in the lake, proof of insurance is also required. I understand this also is passed through the police chief.
Yes, and he didn't have any
And
I have one
problems.
correction there, and we discussed in the last meeting, a
Okay.
certificate of insurance with the town as a named insured,
Oh, not
which is
just,
different
okay,
than
okay.
just a approved insurance, yeah. And it's,
Additional, right?
yeah,
and what we'll do is we'll table this until that change is made, okay?
Mhm.
We have two separate right of burials. One is for lots 11-3 and 11-4. For Walter and Marjorie Buckley.
move approval.
I'll second.
As I understand it, these have both passed with permission of the trustees, correct,
Yes,
Karen?
that's right.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0. And while you're signing that one, I'll just go on to the next one. It's lot, section E, number 50 is Anthony and Rosalie Trio. Is there a motion?
So move.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0. Next is a notice of appointment to Thomas Young to fill a vacancy on the Capital Improvement Program Committee. A member, you'll be a member, and the term expires June 2020.
So move.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. This is notice of intent to cut wood or timber for lot 68-3-2.
Move approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Karen, do you pass these on to the acting forest ranger?
Yes.
This is as
Next is, I think, a three-quarter poll of the summary of inventory evaluation for Tufton Borough. It's the MS1, and it's required to be reviewed, and this has been reviewed by Diane and also by Rodney Wood, our appraiser. You folks had a chance to look at it?
Did you look at it, Bill?
I have not.
Yeah, did some quick adding the big columns there, and everything seems copacetic.
And does this reflect a change in the utility tax, or is that not
On the
changed
last
yet?
page, I think it does not include it.
Okay.
I think the utilities are specifically left off by law.
Well, we've got an electrical co-op.
Okay.
10 million.
Maybe I read the wrong page. Rod has been working with Sanssouci and has some input as far as how we should proceed.
No deaf people in town.
This reflects a net valuation of $31,178,841, including utilities.
Yep. Then I stand corrected. That's up because it was 14 last year.
Could you say that number again?
$31,178,841. I'll move approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
So that wasn't the gross valuation, which was 980 plus million.
Right. Correct. It's almost $1 billion.
It was over $1 billion.
A little bit low. This is for a tax lot, map lot 59-1-10. It has to do with resident applying for veterans credit and disability credit. And the recommendation from Karen is, I recommend that you award this gentleman both the veterans credit, $500, and the disability credit, $2,000, effective for the 2018 tax year. And she explained why. Have you folks read this?
Yeah.
Have you read this?
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
So move.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Karen. You really worked with this gentleman and it's appreciated.
No problem.
Next are 2 letters going out to 2 co-workers, Bob McKenna and Albert Bowley. And I'll read the letter. Thank you, gentlemen. The town of Tuftonboro would like to thank you for installing the new beach sign on Cow Island. This was kind of you, and it's very much appreciated. Okay to send these letters out, gentlemen?
Absolutely.
Do we need a motion or just go do it?
I don't think,
It's a
I don't
thank
think we
you.
need a motion, I think we just sign it.
More citizens that step up to the plate. We're very fortunate. copy there?
We lost the bill.
I lost it.
Yeah, $586.
Yeah, 58 cents.
Yes.
So close.
So close.
Come on down, sir. How you doing?
Hot. Very hot.
Go ahead, sir.
So, couple things coming up. Drug take back will be the 28th from 10 to 2 at the transfer station. I'm just waiting for the letter back from the Attorney General's office giving us the waivers.
928,
That's
10/28.
10/28.
10.
Can you do that in big print for us?
So, we've had some computer issues this last week because where we connect to the county, they had to install some new equipment there. Didn't necessarily want to play well with our printer, so I spent probably, well, Tuesday Tom was here, Wednesday I spent a lot of time on the phone with the county IT guy, and same thing with Thursday. He said he sent it up for support higher up in another company, the company for Sonic Wall, and then today all of a sudden it started printing like all the stuff that had been requested over the last week. So we had to put a stop to that. So it's working, except I'm having other computer issues right now here.
Is it fair to say that this is the next year that we invest money in
Yeah,
computers?
next year, I already talked to Tom about, upgrading our server, because I found through IMC is a cheaper way of doing that. I probably need to upgrade the computer in my office, but we'll be looking at some of those. That's definitely on the list.
No, I'll pay you a compliment. You haven't yelled and screamed too loud, and we appreciate that. But I'm speaking for myself. This computer is acting up, and I look at computers are like lighting systems and door locks and heating systems. They need to be working so you can be on
So you're expecting to present a warrant article for computers in 2018?
No, it'll be in my budget. It's only gonna be $4,000 or $5,000.
Okay.
So the server will be about 3,000, right around there, Tom thought. So I'll just put in my budget as new equipment. Just upgrade a little bit, incrementally make those changes rather than make a big wholesale. The new vehicle is being upgraded, or being upfitted right now. Went down last week, it's still sitting down there. Checked on that today, so it's one more to go. And I know Gina from Parks and Rec reached out to me about it on the 21st. They've got a thing at the school, whether or not we can do a McGruff like we did last year, so we'll be talking to her about that. And October, I was just talking with the Child Advocacy Center, and it's with the Granite State Children's Alliance, Beards for Bucks for October. We contribute money, we get to go here for the month.
Cool. You still have to get a tattoo.
No,
Yeah.
it would have to be a henna one that would come off. I can deal with it long term. But that's what's going on.
I'll bring a couple of things up, and this is positive. First of all, this is a copy of the drug article that appeared in Conway's Sun. Have you folks seen it?
Yes.
It's very well crafted. Please don't stop. It has to do with marijuana is still legal.
Illegal.
Illegal, excuse me.
We did do the road study on Lamb Pond, and I think the average speed was like 22, 23, so we posted at 25, we're even above the 85th percentile. by
Encourage
quite a bit.
people to drive faster.
Well, hopefully not, but the average speed was right around that range, so.
So can we post that?
We can
right now?
post it at 25.
Okay.
Does it make, where would you post it on the other end? Does it make a sense to work with Wolfboro?
probably at the town line would be
Okay?
where I think would be logical. Unless you work with Wolfboro, see what they say, but, so yeah.
Well, their section length has a lot of side streets running off it, and it's a little wider than ours, and so the character of the road up there
Paved.
is, and it's all paved, it may be considerably different than ours, so they may have a higher speed. But and once you pass all those homes going down there, then no reason to get wrapped up on that, I wouldn't think.
Another honor you're getting is on November 9th, you're getting the Nick Haley's Law Enforcement Award at New Futures, and that's at the Capone Center in, is it Manchester or Concord?
Concord, it's right down by,
And I, for one, would like to go. I'm sure there's some other people who would like to go. Can I have Karen, do we need to reserve a seat, or how does that work?
yeah, you would notify New Futures.
Yeah.
I think it's free, but you would like a head count.
Register before October 27th.
An actual, so that's when the governor comes and all that, they have a lunch one on the 26th. So,
I have no
It's a
problem.
multi-day event.
well, it's
So
not
we're gonna have to get a
multi-week.
room.
No. 26th of October is they're having a lunch one where they, I guess there were too many people talking too long about their awards and stuff, so they want to kind of not.
Does that need a reservation? Because I'll volunteer to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Karen, can you work to make sure Lloyd Wood has a reservation for these two events?
Sure.
Would anyone else like to go?
It's a little far afield for me. We'll try to make it.
Yeah. So this is at 4:30 p.m.
Again, I have followed your career, I followed Nick, he passed away a couple of years ago, but you guys make a difference, thank you.
How's your budget coming?
It's coming. Like I said, I got the number for the computer. That's probably the only thing I see of is new equipment.
Okay.
So it'll be just calculating the different, everything else will probably just be the adjustments as I see that from the standard what we're doing. Nothing, I don't see anything for big changes other than that.
I have a couple of questions.
No other major equipment purchases?
Not that I can think of for next year.
Okay.
I may,
You can stop thinking, it's fine.
forever. I may, we had looked into possibly doing something with our rifles, but I haven't done anything with, looked into that totally yet as far as replacing them, but we'll see. They're about 18 years old now, 17 years old? 17, I guess. And so they need new night sights if nothing else, but
You have a lot of use,
no.
they're not worn
Not
out.
a lot of barrel erosion,
Well, it'd be from training, but not from, not,
but, right, again,
yeah, it's not like we're firing full auto
right.
all the time and all that.
All the time.
Well, that's what gives you barrel erosion is, but they're also chrome lined, so it helps to deal with that.
I had a couple of questions. Status of the radar trail?
So October, when we get our, we already called about it, we get our radar units recalibrated, you know, check to make sure they're working, they'll come out and they'll fix it. It's got, it fries new batteries for some reason, so there's something wrong with the charger. So rather than pay somebody twice to come out from,
No.
I think it's Dayton, Maine or something like that, well, when they're coming over anyways to do our radars, we'll have them.
Parking signs along 109.
I haven't heard anything from the state on that.
I'm trying to think, how can the town, the selectmen or you nudge people along?
At DOT?
Yes.
Hmm.
Is there a way?
I can ask.
Without being adversarial?
I'll ask I'll ask it how the work order's coming.
Okay.
Yep.
The parking signs at the dock and also...
I gotta work on that ordinance.
Okay, and now, the parking ordinance, is that for both docks, or is it just not an issue up in Melbourne? The dock's a dock, I'm thinking, right?
As far as docking there, I think,
A citizen asked me, and I said I would ask, so...
yeah, you're talking about Melvin Wharf, not Melvin
Right.
by your house,
Right.
but we're talking the wharf, the
Yeah.
swim area. Probably should be included on the same kinds of hours and
Right.
times, and probably the wharf.
And
And
the
Lake Street.
wall at Lake Road, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that...
And all of this at this point is sort of moot for this year, but
It gives us time to
we've
get
got
everything.
plenty of time now to get it pulled together before next year's season.
And did you have a recommendation whether it's the selectmen who passed the ordinance, or whether we go to town meeting? Or you were going to think about it and research it, right?
I think I'll research it. I think I'll have to research it, because if you read the road less traveled, they talk, and town, well, what is it, the book from the Municipal Association of Governing, they say ordinances are passed by the legislative body, but I think the selectmen also have the right to control town property. So in other words, if you had an ordinance on the use of the roads, like parking on the sides, it would need to go to the town. But if you're talking who can use Davis Field for whatever purpose, that would be the selectmen. I think that's how that was worded in there, but I'll research
But
that.
the selectmen would have to bring it to the legislative body anyway. So we
Right.
have to have some agreement
Right,
of what we're bringing.
and especially the dock.
Because they're not gonna create their own, I mean, our particular legislative body isn't gonna create
Right,
ordinances, I don't
Right.
think.
No, I have no problem involving whoever's appropriate. And you were going to be working on maybe a little bit different approach as far as weekly or monthly summary of,
yeah. Like I said, this week I had a real,
yes.
I spent a lot of time, and then I also had to spend some time trying to get one of the video systems going in the cruisers too, so that was, and I needed to get stuff recorded, so.
Along that line, I'd like to pass this out. Has to do with Sodom Road Bridge. Pass one down to Karen. And I'll just read it. The town has received the attached notice from New Hampshire DOT that recommends changing the weight limit on Sodom Road Bridge. Is there a legal procedure for the town to follow before it reclassifies the weight limit? And that,
I don't know.
I guess what I do is I go back to you, because if there's anyone who understands the RSA and has the computer running, until recently it's you. If we go to 15 tons, what is the impact on the fire department? Their trucks and the mutual aid trucks are well over that limit. Do we need to place signs at the 171 and the 109A intersections to warn truckers? And someone said, do you need to put a sign, at New Road? How do trucks turn around who get down there, shall I say, by accident, not paying attention? The other question I have is, does this affect school buses, snow plows, oil delivery trucks, and other vendors? Another question I have is, how do the police enforce this?
I don't think the school bus is way over 30,000 pounds.
I can actually answer that. if you don't mind.
Can you?
Yeah, I called the school district and it will not affect their school buses. And then the last question, will the state push up the replacement date? HEB said it will not. That doesn't change that.
But not posting it certainly does not inure to our benefit.
No.
I mean, the liability rests on our head.
Yes,
That's
If
right.
you know that.
I don't think we need to post it.
right.
And
And at our last meeting with the road agent, he is in the process, we directed him at that time to post it, and he's in the process of getting signs to post it.
I've asked some contacts in other towns, how do they do it? And the sign doesn't just say road posted ahead, it lists where it is. So, for example, a delivery truck knows that it can go to 202 Sodom Road, it just can't go to 201 and below, or vice versa. So, the other thing is it's going to affect Jim, because at least 2 of his trucks are over 15 tons.
Right.
So Can you look into some of those issues for us? Roseanne? So, the sad thing is that, and it's an editorial comment, this is on the replacement for 2025.
2025 in our
In the state bridge aid program.
state bridge age program.
And remember how long it took County Road to get done, High Street to get done, and correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't it been 7 years that the bridge down by French Cemetery was supposed to be done? And we
I thought it
got,
was longer than that, but they were having issues
That's
trying to.
a state road.
so it looks like it's gonna be there for a period of time.
Well, it'd be nice if, you know, obviously, we don't have a legislature that's operating very efficiently anyway, but it'd be nice to be able to repair the bridge and give them the bill in 2025. I mean, the thing that precludes us from doing that is the way they've set up the bridge aid.
Yes.
So you don't get your 80-20 split unless you wait until 2025.
And last year, they put a moratorium on all bridge aid.
Right.
So we're even further behind in this state.
And logically, we should be able to repair the bridge in 2018 at 2018 prices and let the state take advantage of that in 2025 when they reimburse us, but that's not gonna happen either.
Right.
A little efficiency at the Concord level would be nice.
Right. Anything else for the chief?
Get to work.
And you said,
The rest of
I
them-
think you said that the new cruiser's out.
It's getting outfitted now.
Great.
We dropped it off last week, it's still got more to go.
Oh,
So-
yes. Anything else for us?
No?
Okay.
That's where we're at.
Well,
Okay.
have a mild winter. Thank you again.
Yep.
Continued business? Selectmen's update.
As I mentioned on Friday, we met, and I mentioned that I'd bring it up today as opposed to back then. Diane and I met with an insurance brokerage, Town Health Insurance. We started to look at the different matrix to compare the two. And so far I haven't found any significant difference in cost or benefit. So
It's a work in progress.
it's still a work in progress, but I mean, unless there's some significant benefit to change, it's change just for change's sake at this point. So we have one other insurance company that is going to report to us. None of the rates have been set. My understanding from the company that was here was that they're going to set their rates on October 8th, and our current carrier is going to set them the first week of October, so at least then we can have a good look at what the rate structure is.
Well, thank you for your vigilance.
We'll keep looking after it. The only other thing I wanted to touch on was well, first of all, the transfer station submitted their budget proposal, which is $1,000 more than last year, which is pretty insignificant. We are still struggling with only 20% of our gross appropriation with the highway department left. So I think we still have to keep an eye on that.
I had a conversation with Diane. You saw my comment here about the road agent's budget, and he's been sitting down with Diane. I did some quick analysis. As of today, we're at the 73rd percentile of the month, of the year, about 75%. Highways is 80%, solid waste 69%, general government 62%, police 68%, fire 62%, and our total budget for the town is only 72%.
Right.
So other than that one department,
We're doing okay.
let's cross our fingers.
I just don't, I'm really ambivalent about moving money out of one budget into another budget.
Yes,
And So I think it bears watching when we're looking at, $81,000 left
Yes.
out of a $400,000 budget,
Right.
so.
It's, well, Jim, for example, gave us, what he planned to use only 70,000 for summer maintenance,
Right.
and he went over that by...
Yeah, we're already up to 75,000, he's over 100%.
And what he might do, I think, is, well, he'll just plan not on spending that amount in fall budget, so, again,
Now, the
he's
wild
having...
card in all this, of course, is the FEMA money. If and when it comes to offset the expense for that storm. And that process is working its way along at whatever glacial pace they work at. And may not get here in time to help us this year.
Speaking of bound money, I won't take credit for it because I think Sue Weeks mentioned it last week, that perhaps the Wildwood Estate road that they're working on
Yes.
could come out of that, the money they're looking for could come out of that 70,000 that we got, because that was a project that we didn't have earmarked.
Right. And that would be in next year's budget, correct?
Well, I don't know why it would have to be.
No,
We've accepted,
it's off budget.
yeah, we've accepted the money,
Right.
so.
I was giving some thought to that $70,000, and we have a good month, good weather here. Does it make sense to this year redo the rest of Durgan Road and get it done? I'm wondering if we'll come back in under 70K. Just a thought, I toss it out there. So, last year we did paving projects in October.
Right.
Right.
Again, it's your decision, but
Excuse me,
I
it's inevitably.
I talked with Jim about that a while back, just exploring options. And the challenge is not finding something that he's doing, but finding
Somebody to
a
do it.
contractor that can do it. The paving contractor that we use is pretty much out straight through the balance of the season. And every town is getting this additional money for road projects, so.
And I don't think we should switch contractors
No,
just to spend the money.
Carol certainly has treated Tufton Road well. And they like working here.
and that money is non-lapsing, so.
I mean, and there are other roads, I mean, I think Phineas Graves Road, I think, Sawyer Road, any number of roads that could certainly use some attention. And I think it's a matter of Jim bringing those projects forward.
Anything under updates?
Talked last time about fall harvesting of milfoil, and we anticipated it was going to start last week, but they were still working in Wolfboro last week, so they are planning to start working in Tufton Road tomorrow. We'll be working around the docks at 19 Mile Bay, and then in the Winter Harbor Basin to pull the milfoil that's grown since the harvest earlier in the season. A couple other things that I wanted to mention. We talked a little bit about, actually, Lloyd, you brought up last time, the Diesel Emission Reduction Act.
Yes.
And we are putting together an application. The vehicle to qualify must be newer than 1997, not older. So the vehicle that we have
The vehicle we have is a 2002.
Yes, it qualifies under that program, and it must be scheduled for replacement, but not before 2021. In other words, the idea is that the grant money will accelerate the replacement of a less clean diesel with a new one.
And where was this truck on our CIP?
There is a project in for 2023.
The only thing is,
Replacement.
technically, it can't be on a CIP.
No, that's incorrect. It's
Okay.
supposed to be on the CIP,
Okay.
but not, it can't be on
Today's
before 2021.
Okay.
Okay, so they're looking for a replacement date scheduled further in the future.
Thank you for looking
Yeah,
into it.
and,
There's another wrinkle that, as I did more checking into it, is when that truck qualifies for this program, it has to be destroyed.
well, that's true, that's
And
part.
my thought is the truck worth some salvage? Use the $70,000 on something else, and let's say you get $4,000 for the salvage of the truck. But here again, I'm throwing darts a little bit against the wall, so.
Well, if
What's the
the,
gross amount?
if the grant is awarded, it's 35% of the cost for the purchase, and the current cost is $173,317.
I went and got some prices for the heavy-duty body that parcels the sand out, and also the wings and all that, and I got the ballpark figure of $179, but I think he and Jim have done a little more investigating.
Is this a six-wheel that
Yes.
we're replacing?
Yes.
Are we replacing with a six-wheel? That seems kind of pricey.
It would be a six-wheel,
Yeah.
not a 10-wheel. And
Right.
again, the issue is that there are places that the 10-wheeler does very well, and there are other places it doesn't get into.
Right.
well. And so-
I mean, it just seemed like $175,000 is an awful lot of money for a six-wheel dump truck. So I think we
Well,
should
this
look at-
is complete with,
Yeah,
you know.
plows and sanders,
yeah,
all that.
so that's,
But we're only getting 35% back.
35% would be the federal grant to offset cost, right? You still have to come up with the other 65%
Right. Right.
of
So,
money to,
and you're not gonna be able to do that recapture with trade. So what's the is the trade worth anything?
well, I'm guessing it's not worth,
Well, when we looked at it, it didn't, we weren't impressed.
50,000.
it's not worth $60,000, right? So, anyway, applications are due, they anticipate that they will be taking applications if the program is approved, and it should be approved before the end of this month, and they're due like in the first half of October.
So
So
we can
the
apply.
first step is you apply,
Yeah.
see if the grant's there, then you go forward from there. So I'll continue to work with Jim on getting the i's dotted and the t's crossed
That's great.
on this project. We had recent correspondence from LRPC on the electric purchase agreement that they're working on. They anticipate having the bids in, I believe it's early October, and being in a position to have the towns who are going to participate sign up. It's like October 25th. So, and that, if we sign on as a commitment to buy power through the bulk power purchase agreement. Of course, we'll know before then what the actual prices are.
And that's an annual agreement?
I
I can't remember.
I don't recall if it's, what the length of the term is on it.
We'll know
Or
when we
if
sign
they're,
up.
Huh? Well, before we sign up, no, yeah, no, this is not, we have to sign it before we know what we're dealing with, but we will have all the
Sounds like
information.
a good program.
The preliminary look, they suggested that we probably would save about 10% of the power cost. That doesn't include transmission and all that other stuff, but just the actual cost of the power would be a savings of about 10%. It's the target that they're working to, so we'll see. There may be downsides to that. I mean, one of the things is you end up locked in with this particular supplier, but we'll have to see what the.
I know around Nashua, it has worked very well down there since its third and fourth year.
So that's what I have for today.
About a week ago, I sat down and composed some projects to be included in the road agent's budget. One is to clear the brush and mow the areas surrounding the town parking lot down opposite 19 Mile Bay. One is to clear the brush around the town beach off of Bay Road. One is to mow the high bank located along Lake Street. One was to clear the brush and mow the area along Sergeant's Crossing Road and around the Quonset hut at the transfer station. And one is roadside mowing of our town roads. I'm wondering, number one, if it would be appropriate to see if there are any of our current vendors who mow lawns and cut brush would be interested in these projects, and ask Karen to have them submit an estimate, or does it make sense to with Jim's permission, to advertise these things?
Where are you gonna pay for them? I guess that would be
In the
my
past,
question.
these things have come out of individual budgets.
Yeah.
For example, Clay Gallagher has mowing of the big field that comes out of his budget. I spoke to him about it. The other things,
We've got some-
like the town beach a few years ago, or 5 years ago, was paid for by the road agent when they had the tractor here doing the roadside mowing.
I mean, our general government buildings section of the budget is only running at 61%. So we do have a little capital there.
But I was thinking of planning
But I
for
can't
next year.
imagine.
For example, what we did this year is people mowed Gould property, and this was the year that Corey took it over and trimmed it and mowed it on a regular basis. I'm just thinking about expanding these projects. My question is, does it make sense to have Karen contact the 4 or 5 people that do mowing for the town already, lawns and edges and whatnot, and say, would you like to pick up 1 or 2 of these, and what would you give for an estimate? And if not, put it out there, put an ad in the paper.
Yeah, I think we need some pricing before we can make any decisions. And we certainly can't throw it into the road agent budget because there's nothing there.
Exactly.
So if you're interested in...
And if it's something that, for instance, has been taken care of at the beach by, in the Parks and Rec budget in the past,
I have no problem putting it in there.
then.
I mean, with their permission, obviously.
You've got a number of different,
Yes.
I don't, are some of these things that aren't currently being done, or they're being done, but
None of these projects got to this year.
But they have been done in the past.
In the past, they have somehow gotten done.
But we don't know how. And what,
I think the VOTEC actually, a couple of years ago, trimmed the 2 places for us. They did the cemetery and they did Zadidar Farms.
well, I'd certainly entertain looking at those projects.
Karen, can I get to with you later?
Sure.
Okay. That's it. Next is correspondence. The drug article by Andy Shagoury, the meeting for him. Dear Selectmen, the computer in the Selectmen's meeting room keeps crashing and needs to be replaced. It's Karen's old PC. It was cleaned and recently a new video card was put in, but that did not fix the problem. The purchase of a new PC is $816. Here are the line items that it can come out of. Karen, would you like to speak on the issue?
Just the crash has been, it actually crashed before the meeting last week, just more
Well,
current.
you wrote this letter. It wasn't some citizen that wrote this letter.
No.
Oh, okay.
I just said the lines that it may come from. So I know we have 2,300 left in computer maintenance. Tom puts in another service block bill, which you probably will. I did end up talking to him after I wrote this. We'll leave 600 in funds for that in computer maintenance. General supplies, we have 1,295 left, and I expect 900 or less in anticipated expenses of things I have to purchase. So there'd be 395 left in that line. Available, I should say, rather, to pay for this purchase.
And so it's coming out of the financial administration budget?
Yeah, 600 of it would be out of computer maintenance, and the rest would be out of
I had a
general
question.
supplies. Mhm.
Is the 816 the new purchase? If this one broke down,
Right, it
it
is.
could go in and do his job,
Yep.
or do your job, or whatever.
Be the same one that I just got, yeah.
I'm all for it, you know, we have our assessor and we have our treasurer using it, and they're very kind not to complain.
Yeah, it's
It
been
goes
crashing on them
blank.
too, and you, and
And they don't complain, but those are two vital officers in the town.
So is there any use for this, or is it just junk?
I don't know, we did try, because it was my old one already, and we tried cleaning it,
Yeah.
and, I mean, as it's working right now, but it's interim, you know? It could crash in a minute, who knows? It's coming a couple times a week now, it's been crashing. We could be putting it off if you want, and see what happens for next year, that's fine. I mean, we only have 2 months left, 3 months left.
Well, we have money available in the budget to purchase it,
Mhm.
correct? So my recommendation is that we go ahead and replace it. It's not going to get any better.
Right.
And it may suddenly just stop altogether.
It's possible.
Right.
Mhm.
So is the replacement going to require additional software upgrades or releases or any of that?
That's a good question. It should include everything, and then him putting it in and replacing it, it's all part of our service block agreement, so there wouldn't be additional costs for that part. But yeah, it should, it has, I'll triple check, but that's what mine was, it was only 816 with everything on it, so.
So 12, I don't know, how much is it? It's $816
Yep.
coming out of the $2,300.
But we wouldn't all be out of that, because he's gonna put in a bill for a service block for 1,700, so it'd be 600 out of that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it'd be piecemealed a little bit.
Okay. And do we have a schedule of computers in the CIP or whatever?
They're not in the CIP program. Again, less than $10,000.
But did Tom put together an aging schedule?
Yes, I do have that.
We do
yeah.
have a
And how
schedule.
does this fall on that?
I don't know offhand, sorry.
Okay.
I think we would, at that time that he did that schedule, I think we were hoping we would get by with cleaning it, so.
We
obviously
always
I-
hope
Is that the copy you gave me where he's gone through and inventoried
Mhm.
the status and
Right.
future of every computer and supporting hardware? I think it's about 12 pages long if it's the one you gave me.
I don't know. Oh, you're thinking of when Lakes Region came in? I
Well, we
think.
should
That's
factor it
different.
into our,
No, this says from Tom.
Oh,
It's very comprehensive. I
Right.
asked you for it about a month ago. Very comprehensive.
We should be factoring that into our operating budget though.
Yeah, that's a
So
good
it
point.
isn't, it isn't, well, geez, we're gonna come up with the money today.
Yep.
I mean, it's obvious that these things need replacing from time to time.
Yes. Can you make a copy of that available to the board? You know what I'm talking about?
I remember an Excel sheet from Tom with the different
What
computers
I'll
and
do
the
is
date of service.
I'll bring my copy out and
Okay.
show you what I'm talking about.
Do we wanna move on this request to?
Yes. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we replace the computer.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? And what is the cost of the estimate?
$816.
Okay, no further discussion, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you for your efforts.
You're welcome.
Next items are from Chris Fournier and reference his follow-up with FEMA funds and do we apply it, don't we apply, the hazardous mitigation fund. Next is,
Excuse me. I apologize. Is there a question in there from HEB asking if you want to move forward with something? If I remember correctly? I haven't looked at it recently.
this is
but-
from Heidi Lawton.
That's different. It will be the HEB one.
Hi, Chris, thank you. I will forward both of your messages to the board and send you any feedback. Have a great week, Karen.
It should be right below that, perhaps, right below.
I followed up with NH regarding Lloyd's concerned about the amount of damage in Tuftonboro received from the July storm. Please see the response below. Was the amount of damage in Tuftonboro minor? The county threshold was 172K. Was there that much damage in Tuftonboro alone? Okay, I think this is the follow-up. Nope, it's 5 minutes before, so it can't be the follow-up.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I did respond to him on those things. I thought there was something in there he wanted to know if you guys want to apply for. Maybe I'm not recalling
No,
correctly.
the only other thing says, good morning, my name is Heidi Lawton, and I'm the field rep for Carroll County. Unfortunately, Carroll County was not declared for the July 1st storm.
Yeah.
We called all the communities in Carroll, and Tuftonboro was the only community that said they had any kind of damages. And the fire chief, EMD, said it was not that much. We did not think that
Maybe it's on the next piece.
Tuftonboro had enough damage to get the whole county declared.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there was some damage in Baltimore.
Oh, yes. Documents from Monday from
July.
HEB, Chris Fournier.
Maybe
This
that's-
is December 12th. I've always, thanks Karen, I seem to have additional bits of information to provide the following meeting, so here it is. With FEMA funding seemingly out of reach without the backup documentation of prior damages and New Hampshire DOT funding nearly a decade away, HEB can prepare a proposal to assist with the design of repairs. The intent would be to strengthen the bridge to remove the recent load posting and helping it last until 2025. Additionally, while the two bridges may not be in good candidates for HMGP, culverts, road drainage, bank stabilizations can be. The projects must be in the hazardous mitigation plan. We can assist and prepare a letter of intent by the October 9th deadline. Again, insufficient data is found, an application does not need to be submitted.
I guess he wants to know if you want to do that. Have to do a proposal.
So do we want him to prepare a proposal to repair the Sodom Road Bridge to lift the weight restriction? That was the first question that he asked. And then the second question is, did we want to submit a letter of intent with respect to FEMA funds for other road-associated hazard mitigation items, culverts, et cetera, but they have to be in the hazard mitigation plan of the town. And
Do you see them to be functionally available by October 9th?
what,
This information that
well,
he needs?
Adam has a hazard mitigation plan, right? So, I have no idea if it's in there. If it's not in there, then it seems to me that it's pointless to put in a letter of intent to apply, because we wouldn't have anything to qualify.
And when he was last here, he articulated that he had to go back through the files to get certain information, and it's my understanding there's no such information on file.
And we're talking two different things, I think. One is with respect to replacing the bridge to mitigate a hazard, some evidence of past repair work that was necessitated by storm damage. And that's what we said we didn't have. We did not have significant damage to the bridge from storms, which the hazard mitigation funds would be applicable to. I don't know what our hazard mitigation plan includes in terms of other hazards that might be available for application for grant funding. But if I understand it correctly, it has to be in our plan before we can ask for funds to fix the problem. If it's not documented as a hazard, then that's the first step.
Yeah, it's just wearing out.
Right.
We haven't classified it as anything other than old.
Before we answer that question, I think we need to sit down with Chief Thompson and go through a hazard mitigation plan and understand what's in there.
All set on that issue? Next issue, from Jack Parsons, sent September 12th, Union Wharf reconstruction question. This is from Randy Tatro, and he had a list of questions about future work on Union Wharf reconstruction. Have you folks read this letter?
I have.
Have you read it?
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with Jack the other day about that, and he was gathering some information. What I suggested is for us to best deal with it, in my view, starts with a recommendation. This guy has questions, here's the direction that I recommend going. So he's working with old files, I think, and information in the files to determine things like, some of the questions in there are like, is this a such and such of the town? I don't remember the exact wording. There's a lot of technical stuff in there that I think we need to.
Well, we just started discussing what might happen there.
Right.
So,
And we haven't hired an engineer.
No.
He is talking
No,
to
he's
a person
talking to
of
Norway
interest.
Plains about quoting work to get the engineering work done.
right.
Can you put this on the agenda for next meeting?
Sure.
Okay. Anything else on that topic?
No.
Okay. This is a letter to Kyle Hessler, and it's has to do with a quote for radar feedback sign.
That's something that Bill asked me to look into, and you can switch the sign around if you're
It's
interested, I think.
copied to Andy for his input, so
Right.
he's still working on it, or go ahead?
So I haven't heard Anything from Andy about?
Table this.
Yeah.
This is to you from the library, Karen, reference Tufton Borough Library Survey and Septic System.
Oh, yeah.
Anything, it's just information, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You folks have read it?
Yes.
This is from Chris Fournier to the Selectmen, September 20th. Just FYI, the 2 bridges in town are looking to be added to the SAB program and may end up being sooner than discussed, 2025 and 2026. The current 10-year plan has an increase in funding of $8.5 million versus $6.8 million. We think this increase is a good thing for the program. If the select board agrees, we encourage them to support this increase. Okay.
Yep.
Maybe that's good news. Dear Selectmen, Larry Gill was curious as to when the Mirror Lake boat ramp work will be done, as people will want to be pulling their boats out of the water in the near future. When we know, he will know. I spoke with Corey Hunter regarding the shrubs at the town offices. He feels that the best thing for the garden is to take the remainder of the shrubs out and replace them with perennials, lilies and black-eyed Susans, for example. It would be approximately $700 to $800. He hasn't done as many mowings this year as we budgeted for, so it should be within the budget. Let him know that you are at a meeting on the 25th and you could discuss this then. Please advise your thoughts. Karen.
We have dead shrubs along
Mhm.
the edge of the building and missing shrub out front, right? It was formerly dead. And what he's suggesting is that the remainder of those shrubs, I guess on the end, or all of the shrubs? Just the shrubs on the end of the building over there, is that what he's talking about?
Shrubbery.
That's what initially when you asked me to ask him, I believe it was just a grouping of shrubs, wasn't it? I'll have to look back.
Yes, it was all those along the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a whole grouping.
Do you want to follow up with them and we'll make
So-
a decision? Or do we need to make a decision today?
Doesn't matter to me.
I think it sounds great to pull those out of there and put perennial flowers in.
Is this the time of year to do that?
It is.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
yeah, we wouldn't suggest it, yeah.
And at the very least, it's the time to rip the old shrubs out.
For purposes of discussion, I'll move that we go ahead with the
Shrub
project.
aside.
Right,
Motion's been made, is there a second?
second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. From Heather Kubidu, September 20th, DMV interruption on motor vehicle registration process. And she has the days in October when they will be closing or when they'll be closed for the day. A lot of the work's done on Thursday when they're never open. Lifeguard proposal, did you read my proposal?
I did.
Yeah,
Can I'll pass it on to Kevin Van Brunt and ask him to follow up with.
sure.
Okay. We talked about road agent budgets. Diane is switching days off, and you folks will be at class. There are new CIP submissions. Any other correspondence you want to go over, where all the rest is just news and meetings and minutes and revenue administration things? Okay, that's it. Before we go to other, or after we go to other business, we have a public to go over some items that came in. Other business. We're getting done.
What is the holdup on the Mirror Lake Grant project at this time?
Low water and the permit from the state.
I got an email from Bob McWhorter. Did you get that as well? He said you did. He said you did.
I don't know what that one says. I get multiple emails from many
About
people.
well, you don't get the same ones I get, I guess. About ambulance service.
Oh, yes, I have the study that he and Mark Howard did that he forwarded to Jimmy recently, yes.
So are you going to bring that to the budget committee, or should I do that?
I can bring it. It's
Okay.
in my book.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Could you confirm when is the budget meeting?
Yeah, I got to schedule. Hold on.
October 11th?
The 11th.
See you
We've got
not the 12th.
Wednesday, the 11th, October 24th, Tuesday, November 14th, Tuesday, November 28th, Tuesday, December 12th, Tuesday. And the public hearing is February 13th, which seems a little late. but-
On my paperwork, it says October 11th, which is a Wednesday, correct?
Right.
And then it goes back to Tuesdays.
Yeah. 6:30, town offices. Be there or be square, as we used to say.
And then just to follow up on the ambulance thing, I still hope that you'll look at the mutual aid agreements and maybe you'll come to a conclusion that they don't need to be updated, but I think you should still look at them.
Right, that's separate from the ambulance, but we will look at both those. And it's actually not a budget.
Yeah, I didn't mean it as part of the budget thing, but that's for the selectmen, obviously. I think the ambulance should be part of it, but.
Right, but the use, yeah, I know where you're going. It's the use of the ambulance. We were talking about
The ambulance
cost of
that
the
they're
ambulance
discussing
service.
is the ambulance contract,
Yeah, Stewart's
not
contract.
the town's ambulance. The contract that we have
I see.
Yeah,
for stewards to provide ambulance service for the town of Tufton Road.
I got you.
And that is a budget
right.
That's
associated item. Okay.
I saw another hand, go ahead, sir.
I have two questions. In reference to the library and the septic system. Generally, the town takes care of everything outside of the building, and then the library takes care of everything inside. So is the failure of the septic system our responsibility now to fix it? Two, we're preparing to get an extension on the library. Will we put in a new one at this present time? Or are we going to wait till it's $200 a month apparently, or are we gonna wait if the town passes this, to take the monies out of that and create a new system? It's either, okay, first question, I'm sorry, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
I'll be happy to speak what I know to it. The system has failed and has to be replaced, okay? Until it's replaced, the leach field is not effective, which means when the tank fills up, you have to pump it.
Right.
Because there's no way for the effluent to make it out into the leach field. Jack Parsons is in the process of getting quotes for a new septic system design, and the new septic system that he will be having designed will be consistent with an expansion of the building. So it won't be where it has to be torn up or redone again, is my understanding. And that's what, trying not to do the same work twice.
Okay.
Now, the cost of the septic system is something we don't have budgeted money for. So in the interim, until it's approved, the tank will continue to get pumped.
And if the extension doesn't get approved, then what's gonna happen?
They'll keep pumping.
Well, you know.
We don't, I'm just throwing that out there, okay?
My opinion is that there's gonna be an article on the warrant next year to put a new septic system in. I have no idea whether there's gonna be an article brought forward to expand the library next year or not.
Okay.
But the septic system needs to be replaced regardless of whether the library is gonna be expanded or not expanded.
Right. I just didn't know what the timetable was, what the plans were, what you were going to do about it. And you just answered that, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. We don't have the money available, that I'm aware of, to do a replacement this year.
Okay.
Well, we don't know what it's gonna cost it.
No, we don't.
There's lots to do.
I guess my thing was, okay, we're gonna pump it out once a month, $200, whatever the case may be. And I was just playing devil's advocate, well, what happens if it doesn't happen? Eventually, like you just said, there's a thing on there to create a new system or put in a new tank in, so on and so forth. Stop, that's enough. Every time the conversation comes across this table about computers, cameras, radios, it always perks me up. Now, the first thing is, the guy who services our computers in town, does he also take care of Andy's also, as far as purchasing, fixing, or does Andy have his own separate situation over there? Does anybody know?
He takes care of all of the computers that belong to the town.
Okay, fine. Now, my question would be to Karen. The computer crashes. Did he tell you why it crashes? Somebody beating it? Or, I'm just...
No, he thought a video card might solve the problem. I don't know enough about it.
Does he go in? Okay.
Yeah, I sent him the messages.
That's a little bit of my background, so that's why I tend to question it all the time. As far as people needing new computers, say, oh, throw out the old one, we'll just buy a new one, okay? They may be cheap enough, okay, and when you go shopping around, it's quoted $800. Well, gee, can you get a standalone desktop for, $400 or something as far as a brand new one? And my next question is,
Okay.
the service guy, he's under contract presently, you probably read the contract, to transfer information from one to the other without being charged extra as far as time is concerned. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. That was just a comment as far as, I know you already proved and so on and so forth, but I would still like to know the nitty-gritty of, what's involved, okay? And someone just selling us something and saying, this will fix your problem, shouldn't be a problem. Well, what was wrong with the other one? How old is that computer?
This was my old one that they tried to recover and clean
Okay.
it, and I kept having trouble myself with it crashing when I first
Okay.
started. And the price that he quoted includes a hardware warranty as well, for I think it's 3 years. Things like that are,
Okay.
in addition.
These are just questions that,
Yeah.
I would ask,
I can show you the
okay?
proposal if you
Well,
want to see it.
no, that's okay. I don't need to see that, but these are questions I would ask this guy. Say,
Yeah.
well, did you change this? Did you do this? For short money, we keep it going. I'm not against buying new computers with new technology and the advanced speed, hard drive, the whole bit and everything else, security and the whole bit, okay? But I like a little longevity, of the units.
Just so you know, these computers that have been replaced are very old. And actually, to compliment him, he is definitely the opposite of a lot of other vendors. He always tries to save money for us
Okay.
and doesn't try to constantly sell us something.
And all I
which
wanted to
is
do was just ask the question, because
Yeah.
I just wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? The chair will ask for a motion to go into non-public session for RSA 91-A:3, Roman 2, small e.
So move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please. Wood, yes.
Marcus, yes.
I'll be yes.
Our motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone have a nice fall.
Could you just give me those volunteers who put up the beach sign?
Bob McKenna and
Red.
Albert Bowley, B-O-W-L-E-Y. Can you double check? Bowley, Albert.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Again, have a nice week.
What was the, you
Oh,
read the Roman numerals, but what is the subject?
Review attorney invoices.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I'll be out here in a second.
Yeah.